I never believed in the town stories. They said the wind in Black Hollow carried voices, that something moved through the trees at night. But every small town has its ghost stories, right? Superstitions, myths, tales to keep kids from wandering too far. That's all I thought they were until the night I opened my window. My uncle had left me his cabin deep in the woods just outside of town. It was old but cozy, a perfect place to get away from everything. I planned to stay for a few weeks, maybe fix it up, sell it. The first few nights were peaceful. The air smelled of pine, the wind whispered through the trees, and the stars stretched across the sky like I had never seen before. But then, the knocking started. It came late, always after midnight. 3 soft knocks on the glass. At first, I thought it was the wind. Maybe a branch tapping against the pane. But there were no trees close enough. The second night, the knocks came again, slow, deliberate. I stayed in bed, heart hammering, listening as each knock sent ice through my veins. Then I saw them. Shadowy figures stood just beyond the tree line, barely visible in the moonlight. They didn't move. They didn't speak. They just watched. My chest tightened with unease, but I told myself it was just my imagination. A trick of the dark. But their presence lingered, an oppressive weight in the air, something that gnawed at the edges of my thoughts even as I tried to sleep. By the third night, I was on edge. The knocking was louder, more insistent. I kept my curtains shut, but I could feel them watching. My skin prickled, my heart pounded. The air inside the cabin felt heavy, suffocating. The walls themselves seemed to close in. That night, I barely slept, jolting awake at every creak, every shift of the wind outside. Then I made the mistake. It was hot, stifling. The cabin's old ventilation barely worked, and the air was thick with summer heat. Against every instinct screaming in my mind, I slid the window open. Just a crack. Just enough to let in the cool night breeze. The knocking stopped. Relief flooded me. I laughed at myself. Maybe it really had been a bird, a branch, some natural thing my paranoia twisted into something sinister. Then I heard breathing. Slow. Ragged. Just outside the window. I froze. My body refused to move. The air grew colder, unnaturally so. I turned my head, just enough to see the window. Something was there. A shadowy hand, long fingers pressing against the glass. The shape of a face, indistinct but watching. Glowing eyes burned through the darkness. My breath caught in my throat. My fingers trembled as I reached for my phone, but my hands were slick with sweat. Then the window slid open on its own. A scream clawed at my throat as a hand shot through, fingers stretching impossibly long, grasping, reaching for me. I stumbled back, knocking over a chair. The thing pulled itself through the opening, its form shifting, writhing, never quite solid. Its face was featureless, except for the eyes. Those glowing, hungry eyes. It whispered my name. I ran. I grabbed the old hunting rifle my uncle had kept above the fireplace. My hand shook as I turned, aiming at the thing. It stood in the center of the room, too tall, too thin, its limbs twitching unnaturally. It tilted its head, watching. Then it whispered again. You let me in. Now you can't leave. A wave of cold washed over me. My legs locked. The thing stepped closer. I pulled the trigger. The shot rang through the cabin. The creature shrieked, a sound that scraped against my skull like nails on glass. The lights flickered. The walls trembled. And then, it was gone. Or so I thought. I didn't sleep. I didn't stay. I grabbed my keys and left, driving until the sun rose, until I was far from Black Hollow. I never went back. A week later, the town sheriff called. My uncle had died in that cabin, found by the window. The glass shattered, his face frozen in terror. The locals weren't surprised. He knew the rules, the sheriff said. Never open the windows at night. But the story didn't end there. A few days later, I started waking up at 3:15 a.m. every night. The same time. I dreamed of the thing, its whispers slithering into my ears, calling my name from beyond the darkness. I locked every window in my house, but some mornings I'd find one open. Just a crack. Then the knocking started again. Not from the windows this time. From inside the walls. Scraping. Scratching. A slow, deliberate knock, knock, knock. My dog refused to enter my bedroom, standing at the doorway, ears back, growling low in his throat. The air grew colder. The smell of pine filled my house, just like the woods around the cabin. Just like Black Hollow. One night, I saw it. A reflection in my bedroom mirror. Tall, too thin, watching me from the corner of my room. I turned nothing, but I felt it. That crushing, suffocating weight of its stare. My name whispered in the stillness. I fled. I checked into a motel 3 towns over, desperate to escape. But as I lay in the stiff motel bed, my phone vibrated on the nightstand. A single notification. A picture message. From an unknown number. It was a photo of my motel room window. Slightly open. Just a crack. And in the reflection, those glowing eyes, watching. Then came the knock. 3 soft taps from inside the closet. I stopped breathing. My heart pounded against my ribs. The air in the motel room felt heavy, pressing against my skin. The knock came again, slow and deliberate. Knock. 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 I wanted to run. Wanted to scream. But I knew no matter where I went, no matter how far I ran, it would always find me. Because I had let it in. And now it would never leave. And then, from the silence, a whisper coiled around my ears. Time to open the door.